okay, once upon a time, there was a kingdom with a king, hence the name, and the king was not married, and he wanted to be married, and his priorities were a little mixed up. And he's thinking, hey, I'm a king, I need a very special queen, and he had no idea what special was. He was not into relationships at all. And so he's talking to this miller one day, and the miller has this really nice daughter, and she's like nice and stuff, and kind of pretty, you know how that is. And so yeah, Miller is like saying, yeah, my daughter, he's thinking, yeah, my daughter could be married to the king, and that would make me like some kind of prince or a duke of Earl or something like that. But it would probably be lucrative. And, his priorities were a little mixed up too. But he was thinking, she would have quite a lifestyle there. And so he and the king were talking because in that place the king could talk to just about anybody, and they like had a few drinks and stuff. And next thing you know, the miller is saying like, "Yeah, my daughter's really special. She can like spin a straw into gold, I think." And the king's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm into that." And so next thing you know, the miller is back home at the mill, and he's grabbing his daughter and he's saying, "Hey, baby, you know how you always wanted to live the lifestyle of the rich and famous and royal. Okay, well, the king he wants to marry you. That's a good news. Good news. There is a flip side to this, of course. There was some negotiation, and I want you to grab all the straw we got and stick it on the cart there. I'm going to grab this spinning wheel over here, and I'll explain the details on the way." And that's kind of how that went. And next thing you know, she's like locked in a room in the castle with all the straw and the spinning wheel. And she's got like till morning to spin the straw into gold, or the king is going to not only not marry her, he's going to probably be, like brutal. Because the kings back then, they were not always nice. They had kind of weird ideas. But, okay, let's just say it would be ugly in the extreme. Okay, so she's like, "Oh no, what did I do?" And suddenly this funny old man shows up, right? And he's funny. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing with all that straw and spinning wheel and stuff?" And she's like, "How'd you get in here?" And he's like, "Hey, I'm a funny little man. I can do all kinds of cool stuff. In fact, I can spin straw into gold." And she's like, "Really? That's the wildest coincidence, because, having one person expect me to spin straw into gold in an entire lifetime is almost unheard of. But here you show up being able to do that. The very thing that, am I being punked? Is that what this is?" And, okay, so he's like, no, but I can do this, and this will save you from some serious aggravation, and you get to marry the king and stuff. But there is a catch. And the catch is, I want your firstborn child. Yeah. Because, I want him to grow up and be a funny little man like me. And so she's thinking about this. She's thinking, yeah, okay, either it's fate that's pretty horrible, or life of luxury. And I'm going to be married to the king, and he's got an army, and he's got knights, and artillery pieces, and probably like nuclear weapons or something. He's probably pretty set up. I bet his army could take this one funny little man down. Okay, funny little man, I'm in. Okay, so the funny little man that spins straw into gold. I don't know how he does that. It's like a trick. I did see a magician walk down the street and turn into a drugstore, so this may be similar. Okay, but at any rate, so straw into gold. Next thing you know, and she's like the queen, and she got the king, and he's pretty hot and cool, and he's great. And then they got the baby, and he's like, he's royal baby. They're like that. And suddenly, funny little man shows up, and funny little man is like, "Okay, give me a baby." And she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, hang on, let me go get him." And she goes back to King, and she's like, "Okay, there's this funny little man out there. He wants the royal baby. Why don't we just go get the army to go kick his butt? Okay? And the king's like, yeah, yeah, I could do that, except, dude, the army is busy right now. I've got them invading another country, and they're all busy. Go figure. And so things look pretty desperate at this point. And she says, like, well, you can't have him because you're a funny little man, and I'm a queen, and I will promptly kick your butt. And he's like, no way. I'll tell the king the whole story. And she's like, you wouldn't. And he's like, I would. And next thing you know, she's like, okay, okay, but I don't know what to say. You know, my nefarious plan was trumped by your nefarious plan. And so the funny little man like took pity on her, which was his mistake. Because he says, okay, okay, turn off the waterworks there. Because she's like starting to cry and stuff. And either that or, it was like hay fever. But I think she was starting to cry. And so he says, okay, you can keep the baby if you can guess my name. And she said, what? He said, you can guess my name, you keep the baby, and the deal's off. And I'll just leave and go find another baby to be a funny little man, and that'd be cool. And so, yeah, she thinks about it a minute. She says, okay, your name's Jerry. And he says, my name's not Jerry, you'll never guess. And then she stops, she says, no, yeah, your name's Jerry. And he's like, no, it isn't. And she's, yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. And she says, like, yeah, your name is Jerry. I definitely know that your name is Jerry, so I win. I get to keep the baby. And you are, like, gone. You are out of here. And so he's like, no, my name is not Jerry. And so she calls the king and says, king, could you solve this for me? Okay, I'm going to bring in the king. And the king, like, comes in. And she says, like, he wants a baby. I can't explain why exactly. It's a bit of a complicated thing. But, okay, he'll let me keep the baby if I guess his name. I guessed it. His name is, in fact, Jerry. He could have picked a tougher name than that. And that's how I get the baby. And he's like, he's not doing it. And so the king's like, yeah, what's the deal, Jer? And the little guy's like, no, I am not Jerry. And the queen, because she's like really smart, she's like, okay, prove it. Let's see some ID. And done. Okay. And he shows her the ID. Yeah, she's going to know that his real name is Rumpelstiltskin. And jigs up. Okay, so it's like one of those bar bets. And so he splits. He just like, okay, you win this one, queen. But next time, Rumpelstiltskin doesn't go away. Okay, and that's my little story. And she got to keep the baby. They lived happily ever after. And Rumpelstiltskin had many other adventures, including bugging me a lot. Okay, so that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.